It's Lil Baby.
Did you listen?
All right, let's do this. Yo, welcome to episode 43 of Conversations with Chai. I'm your host, Ihram Chowdhury, aka Lil Baby Ram. And today I have with me the founder of the brown label, Desi Trill. I have with me Shabz Naqvi.
That's what's up. My energy's a bit pumped because we was talking off camera, you know what I mean? But
No. We got into it, and we got to get into it a lot. So
I just want to just say quickly, man, like, I've been rushing you because of today and whatnot, because obviously my work commitments while I'm in New York, but I want to congratulate you with everything you're doing and your whole team behind the camera as well. Like,
Appreciate
you guys were brought to my attention. Shout out to Sharad, man. Dope ass DJ person. And it's ever since then I've been following you guys and I'm excited. And when I came into New York, I hit you up and I was like, yo, I'm coming to the city. I would love to be a part of
and
this.
you don't even know how much that means to me, right? Like, that to me is like, yo, I got a whole like corporate job. Like, I took that off. Like, I immediately took off, right?
Appreciate
I was like, there's no way that Shabz is coming in New York. I'm not
That's
getting
what's
to
up.
talk to him, right? Because
Yeah.
I even think it's crazy at the, like, we were talking about it, yo, like your history and like music, like where you are, like what you're doing. I'm like, yo, it's crazy that somebody like Shabz Naqvi even knows who the fuck I am, much less to hit me when he's on the schedule. Like, that's it's insane to me, bro.
And there's full admiration, fam.
Nah, bro. Yo, admiration is like from this way, that way, right?
Appreciate it, man.
Because I think what y'all doing is what I've imagined as a kid my entire life. Like, I always like grew up, like we were talking about it, right? Like, I grew up in hip hop, right? Like, in the sense of like everybody around me, like that's how I connected, right? Like, I came as an immigrant, like I connected through hip hop and music. So I had to learn everything. I know all the backstories of Nas, Hov. I became obsessed to the point where I'm listening to like every single interview that they're doing, that I could tell you the business behind every single one, right? But in my head, I was like, yo, I don't even know what that looked like for me. I don't even know what my place in that is. And I tried. I like applied to labels for internships, like never got through the door, tried to make music, you know, do everything that we want to do. So to see something like Desi Trill have like a real roster, right? Like we talked about it earlier, like Mumsy, Rax, Lion, right? Like names that like I know.
Aisha, Natanya, Subi, Young Sammy.
Yo, like names that I know, names that I've listened to. And it's like, oh, like they doing it. Like there's a collective power. Because I was we were talking about like capturing the demographic off mic, right? But I think it's important what y'all are doing, right? Because it is creating a power base and having somebody like you who has access to like the Roc Nations of the world, the Universals, right? To be able to navigate those doors for us. I know, like, it's like, it gives me like a lot of hope that's like, yo, I could put my faith in what the culture is going to be 5-10 years from now. Because Shabz Naqvi and like Sharad and Kunal are doing the things.
And I love that, bro. And this is the whole purpose of this, right? Because of the time constraint, like I'm gonna, if you don't mind, stay this to a little bit selfishly to my narrative as well.
Absolutely.
Like, and that's the whole point of Desi Trill, right? People look at it as a record label, but it's a mindset, bro. That's what Desi Trill is. It's a mindset. It's a genre. It's about us being included as brown folks. Our company strapline is brown is everywhere. Our ethos is brown is everywhere. And that's the whole point of Desi Trill, right? Is putting us in a creative world, and we're going to move in other areas, but right now I want to talk creative world, right? Is giving us strength and making us a part of where the world is at today, right? The world is at a very mobile era, right? Subtitle movies are watched more than anything on Netflix, which only shows you that people are more intrigued now by other tribes, other languages, food choices, right? I was growing up, it was very limited, right? McDonald's. Today we live in a place of like, yo, do you want Mexican? Do you want Portuguese? Do you want to? So the food palette shows us as well how diverse the world is going. Our choices of holiday. I can go on for days, right? Fashion, all of this. We're living in a diverse world, right? And it's about that time we give South Asians, right? And this is the whole point of Desi Trill, me being South Asian, right? My parents were born in India. My dad had then migrated over to Pakistan, and then they came over to London. I have a full understanding of who we used to be, what people think we are, and this is what I'm trying, not even trying to, this is what me, my team, my co-founder, partner, Tai, my brother Dan, my whole staff, RT, all of us, right? Ben, we're all, Samir, we're all fighting to change that stigma. That's what that is, right? And then
I think it's so important because it's like, yo, like as people, like as again, like we grew up like we a certain way, right? But like we so different than what the stigma is.
Exactly, bro.
Right? Like we talked about it off mic, right? Like yo, loud, came from hip hop. Like I come from a certain like culture, right?
Exactly.
But amongst my people and like my demographic, it's like, oh, like he's like loud and boisterous. And that in itself is a stigma. Right? Like that's a stigma that like you've, I'm sure, had put on you.
But see that stigma is always like, it's control. That's what stigma is. Like it's a label. Stigma is a label. Who is allowed to label anyone? That's unfair. None of us should be labeled. So when people like control, and I was saying earlier, stigma is control. Labeling is control. It's a mind over matter, right? When they say, oh, you look like a gangster, instantly you think, how do I tone that down? No, be you. Be you.
And I think that's like what, honestly, like that's the coolest part for me watching Desi Trill, right? Is because it's like, yo, like y'all not changing the sound of what this is, right?
No.
Y'all not making it like Western. You're not making it Western palatable, right? It still sounds like...
It's global, fam. And we took time out to critique the sound. And here's another thing, right? There's two sides of Desi Trill that our mission and goal is daily, right? One is us in the West, having our notoriety of they're cool, they're here. We're not just a financial people that we're just going in for finance. Oh, you know what? You could be the head of my company because you're academically smart. No, we got more to contribute creatively, right? And on the other flip is as well, like when we look at India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and the list goes on of all these incredible South Asian countries, right? We've evolved as well. We have evolved. Our cousins are now FaceTiming us with fades. We got, like, they're putting TVs on the walls and all that. And I said, the point I'm trying to make is even back home, we've evolved. So we need to now do with Desi Trill, it's not just about us in the West, it's also about evolving and bringing our home, our family back home up with what's going on. Like if we're talking Indian, right, we're still living off, well, a lot of us are still living off the Bollywood era. We've evolved. That's my dad's generation. Where's our generation? Where's us?
And I think it's getting built out by like, y'all, like there's so many people that are building it out.
G, Karan Ujj, like that. There's so much AP. Like you got to give these guys their props. There's so many dope labels out there, right? But everyone's got their own method on how they're doing it.
I always say it's crazy that Ed Sheeran is on stage with Diljit. When you think about Ed Sheeran, what he does commercially to like the West, right? It's like, yo, no, he had to go to do that show in India with Diljit, right? Like it has to be done.
A lot of that is a bit like false movie. I can't wait till that day when Diljit's on stage with Ed Sheeran in Seattle, not in Delhi, not in Mumbai. That's just like he's tapping in.
We
you know the ones that you know when someone goes, yo, when he comes to my hood, make sure you tap in. Like, all right, cool. He's tapping in. He's in their part of the hood, so he's But I can't wait for when he's in Seattle. Goes, guys, I got a friend with me today, and playing his guitar. Diljit Dosanjh. That's the aspiration we're trying to go for. You know what I mean? Like that's where we're trying to go. Because right now, and I love West African music because Ed Sheeran might bring up Burna Boy,
and that's the draw.
That's the, you know what I mean? In Seattle, not in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And that's where we need to go to next. But
I think we're getting there, right? Like Diljit doing a Coachella, right? Diljit doing tours in the US where it's like
100%. But here's another thing: is there's blurred lines behind this, right? We're living in the West. There's a thing in loads of businesses. It's called diversifying. It's called diversity. Legally, loads of companies and they have to diversify. So what they do is they turn around and go, all right, cool, you're brown. I got to hire you because I need to diversify our portfolio. I'm not saying that it's all fake, right? But I know a lot of that, because I'm from the corporate world, exists, right? So, I want it to happen on a natural level.
But it's a good look anyway, right? It is what it is, right? Like it is what it is.
Huge look. And by the way, if my whole conversation here is getting confused of me not being happy, yo, Diljit is, all these incredible artists are opening the doors for us as well at Desi Trill. Let's be clear. I'm just saying there's still moves out there with loads of corporations in the West where they diversify their portfolio. That's all I'm trying to say, right? But you can't deny the fact that brown is everywhere, right? It's the fastest growing migration in America. So for any corporation out there, if you're putting on any events, you have to put on a brown folk because now it makes more sense because they're going to buy the hard tickets. You see what I'm saying? Like Diljit just by himself did 3 football stadiums. Like, why would you not have him do an hour slot with everyone else? Because clearly he's selling tickets. You know what I mean? So, but it's beautiful. I'm just trying to say I want people to fully understand our culture, is my point in the West. Like, and it's happening. You're contributing to it right now. You know what I mean? Everyone here is contributing to it right now. Desi Trill is. All the other artists we're mentioning are. So it's a beautiful time. It's about us locking in, and it's about us locking in and building our, not even so much building our community, we exist, but let's feed our community. Let's not look for validation outside.
We got to build an ecosystem, right? Like, that's why I always say, like, that the whole value prop of, like, this podcast, I'm sure, like, you kind of have, like, an understanding. That's why I meant so much, like, when you said, like, yo, we see you, right? Because I'm all like, yo, I want this to be what hip-hop is and was, right?
It's gonna be.
And it's like, yo, when anytime, like, an artist had to, like, roll out their album, yo, they had to go to the Breakfast Club. They had to go to,
exactly,
they had to go.
Fam.
That's essentially what I was like, yo. I was like, yo, when y'all come up, there should be people, like, lining up to interview Mumsy Stranger. There should be people lining up to interview Shabz. There should be people lining up to interview, like, Lion, right? Because eventually, if the audience grows the way that we know it's going to grow, people are going to care. You don't think, like, if Diljit says something, people would care about what he's saying?
And this is where it's heading, bro. Like, you're literally going to be that. You're going to be whatever Joe Budden was and is. You're going to be that, bro. I'm telling you right now, you're going to be that. Because everyone started with 1 or 2 followers. Everyone started with 3 people in the audience. I actually saw this firsthand. Like, my like brief history, like, when I was working at Roc Nation in the UK and handling, like, the UK side of things there, I remember they introduced me to this rapper about whenever it was, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, whenever. They're like, Shabz, he's got his college rap and he's coming over to the UK, he's starting to build his fan base. I was like, cool. I started following this rapper, and then I see go into a room of 200 people and then 300 people, and then he'll come back a year later, then it's 400 people and 5. And that person was J. Cole, right? So I've seen it happen time and time again, even amongst my own history and that, right? Like, it starts off small and then it gets there. It takes patience, it takes passion, and it just takes, kill the noise. Don't be worried about what everyone else is saying, what our perception is right now. Let's just focus on ourselves. Hip-hop's never cared what anyone else thought. And today is the biggest and has been probably the most inspirational, leading music genre till date, right? And it's only, when did it start? In the 70s? And like, you kidding me? Like, country music can't even influence as many people as hip hop can. Because they didn't care about no one else. They just care about their art, their people, right? When I say their people, I'm including us. Like, the culture, and they just stayed focused.
And then people came to them.
And then people came to them, fam. And this is where we're at. And Desi Trill, and even myself, Shabz, right? I'm not here out in this world trying to talk about what I've done and I know it all, and that's not the case, right? No one's got the answer. My belief is for myself. My biggest strength is the strength that I'm bringing. Like, I come from a real street mentality, right? I'm not illiterate, but when I say I come from a street mentality, like, me and my friends, we forced our way in the UK to get notoriety of what we're trying to do. And it worked. And we didn't care about everyone else there. When I say it worked, I'm on about 12 major music awards later, a few top 10 and number 1 layers, a few platinum selling layers. And that proved to me as a kid, when I was doing it with my friends, pushing our music and not looking for validation, like, yo, this shit's all about believing in yourself and never taking no for an answer. Yeah, they labeled us. They gave us a stigma. We didn't care. They used to always try and tell us, yo, this is a joke. And this be 15 of us in my crew. Yo, these guys, 15, come on, this ain't America. That's only Wu-Tang. Oh, these guys think they're Wu-Tang. And we used to get laughed upon them. But we stayed and we spoke to our community, the streets, and lo and behold, we made it.
I think that's, like, the part that, like, it's good to have these conversations with you, have a conversation with Sharad, right? Where you talk about, like, how, like, real G's, like, move around. Because honestly, like, where I'm at with it, like, I hear a lot of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, are you sure you want to say that? Are you sure you want to do that? Which I get now from our conversation, it sounds like control on strength.
Exactly that. And I'm a real cultured kid as well, man. Like, as much as I've been doing, and I was blessed to be invited, to be accepted within black music and black culture for the last 20 odd years, I've always remained an Indian kid, right? Never spoke English to my parents. Always spoke Hindi and Urdu. Always. Never been that kid, like, as much as all the success that we had and I was on the block and you see my mom and dad, she's like, I just ate some curry. And next minute, and people should be like, yo, Shabz, what's going on? Like, real cultured kid, you know what I mean? So with that strength and that love for culture, I'm a Bollywood kid, yo. Grew up around Bollywood music as well as the hip hop and the dance and all the rest of it. Like, and even the ragga music. I'm a Bollywood kid. So my knowledge on Bollywood and music, films, and it's extensive, man. People sometimes get...
But that's going to be the
passion.
But that's going to be the culture, right? Like, you can't... Because, like, if you were creating Desi Trill and we said it before, if it just sounded like everything Western, then it's not really our culture, right? But because we're that, right? Because I grew up listening to Illmatic and I also grew up watching 3KG, right? Mm-hmm. I know what sounds from that sound like, and I know what sounds from that sound like. And my palette is probably both. And that's where I think something like a Desi Trill, something like that music, it's that fusion of culture, right? Because we don't want to recreate Bollywood, and we also don't want to just recreate hip hop.
And by the way, this has happened before our times as well, bro. Like, I remember as a kid listening to, watching Mitten films, right? What was that film? Johnny. Acha, Acha, Acha. Mm-hmm. Like, you got to give credit to music composers, producers like Bobby Leary, man. That were already infusing disco dancer. That's the movie. They were infusing dance, disco with Bollywood sounds. It's been happening, right? But that was their thing, right? So I'm giving flowers where it's due, by the way.
Yeah.
That was their thing. We're living that. I'm a father. Right, my dad was wearing ankle swingers and I'm wearing Air Force Ones. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's their generation. This is our generation. I'm a hip hop kid. They came from disco and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
We come from hip hop and R&B and pop and whatever the case may be. So I might come off track there, but I'm just saying we're living in this day and age, and it's about us giving strength to each other. And we've evolved. When I was a kid in the UK, I was the first generation, right? Now I've got cousins there. We're going into the third generation. Other families in the UK are going into fourth generation. So there's this responsibility that I feel I've got in my back as well to ensure whether you're Bangladeshi or Pakistani or Indian, whatever you are. By the way, we're all, some people might have some comments and I love it. We're all Indian, right? Really and truly, we break it down. We look at history of Bangladesh from the 1970s gaining independence. Then it was West Pakistan and so forth, but it's all India.
I think that's where like people get lost, right? Because they want to, again, like they're all different cultures, right? But it's like saying like, yo, like I'm from New York and I'm from like, it's all of that, but we're all of one people, right? And I think it's like a divisive thing for us to like segment that.
I think it's all the same culture, right? It's just different dialects, right? And your faith is not your culture. So some people, I always have these debates, it's faith, culture, because if faith is culture, right? If we're Muslims, right? Is your Arab culture same as the Bangladeshi culture? But then you're the same faith, though. Mm-hmm. Is the Christian culture of a West Africa the same as a Christian in white England? But then you're the same faith, though. Mm-hmm. So culture and faith are two different things. I have to remind people that all the time because they're trying to bring me this argument and I always have to break that down to them just on that simple facts. You know what I mean? So anyway, culture, we're all the same culture. You know what I mean? That's what we are. The same culture, but different faiths. Mm-hmm. Different dialects, but the same culture. My opinion, by the way. I
want to be respectful of your time, Shabz, but there's two things that I want to get done before you head out. One is just having you in the room, and I would love to have this conversation with you after, but I want to get something for the audience too. As somebody who's like leading the way for this culture, right? Like everybody behind, right? Like what is our job the next like 3 years, the next job 5 years? Like what am I supposed to do? Like that's really, selfishly, that's what I'm really asking. Like what am I supposed to do?
If I be honest, we're only going to break this in unity, bro. We have to support each other. And it doesn't mean a must-have as well. And no one should be like, just do it for the culture. Mm-hmm. That's just boring. That's just like, I don't believe in that. But we have to stick together. We have to believe in ourselves. We have to kill the noise of outside. Keep building our own. That's all we have to do. Me coming here today, I didn't look at this as no different to the Breakfast Club. Mm-hmm. I look at this the same way. I'm excited as if I was sitting in front of Joe Budden or whoever, DJ Envy. Like, I'm just as excited and privileged me sitting there today. You know what I mean? So we have to support ourselves. We have to kill the noise of not look for no validation from outside. We're big enough. We're half of this earth, right? Let's just stay focused and let's support each other, right? And that's all I can say. Like, that's the future for us.
No, I appreciate you saying that because honestly, like that's where I think a lot of us as like consumers also have to also keep that same mindset. The same way that you said that, hey, you're excited to do this, we should be excited for a Lion drop. We should be excited for a Mumsy drop as if Drake's dropping or as if whoever.
Love
like,
the music. Like, that's the thing, right? A lot of us tend to be like, not a lot of us, I take that back, but I have seen this, like when it comes to our own, we tend to, that shit won't get blared. Not everyone's bumping AP Dillon full volume yet. But then the next record, Justin Bieber or Lil Baby, that's on full blast. Let's get to that place of strength. Like, nah, I'm at the traffic lights. And make someone tap in the window and go, yo, what's that? Yo, this is Punjabi rap. This is Punjabi R&B or Hindi or Bangla or whatever the case may be, Malayalam. And let's just hold that or Gujarati. Let's hold that with strength. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
nah, I get that. Like, I think slowly we're like starting to see records like leak out like that, right? Like they ate Ale record, right? Like that's like, yo, I've heard it outside now, right? And I'm like,
great.
That's how it should be, right? We should be excited. Like the way that people come on for Dreams and Nightmares, like I want that to be the case for a Diljit record. I want that to
happen,
be the case.
bro. Like, look at Punjabi MC. Like that record was huge amongst the Bhangra community for like 5 odd years, yeah. And then Jay jumped on it, and then it just, and up till date, we still get strength. And that's what kind of inspired me a lot to do.
It's a global record still. You can't go outside without hearing that.
And it gave me strength like that. And then when I speak to the brothers at Roc as well, like, yo, what made you jump on that record? It was purely, and they were ahead of their times as well. They tapped into that record because it sounds sonically so great. They all knew the Night Rider, like Tata's told me the story a few times. They all knew the Night Rider theme and was like, that's enough for us. We messed with this record. This is 20 odd years ago. Right? So if we think we're kind of hot now, what was you like 20 years ago? Like, and that's why kudos to those brothers. But anyway, my point is like, when that record gets played out, that gives me strength. Like, yo, you hearing this? Like, yo, you know, that's Punjabi, you know? Like, and that's the whole thrill of and the passion behind Desi Trill. Like when we're doing partnerships with global brands, and I always say this analogy of like in the UK, we call it the high street. I don't know what you guys will call it, like the main strip of like the Broadway, where the main stores sit on, right? You ain't got to go through 100 back streets to get to that. My thing is, and my team's daily goal is to bring us as people, brown is everywhere, to the forefront of the rest of the world, as well as, again, ensuring at the same time back home is evolving as well with our music, because we're a culture of music, man. We're a culture of dance. We're a culture of movies, and what's next for us? Let's not let Netflix come and take over, right? Even though they are, but I'm just trying to
let us own it.
Let us own it.
Let us own it. Let them come, but let us own it. That's why I always say, like, I'm like, yo, I come to any deal, I'm like, yo, I'm not giving a lick of equity, right? Because when this comes, right, like again, when it comes, I want it to be like, yo, no, you gotta come to me.
And it's a gift and a curse, right? Because I love Netflix, right? But it's a gift and a curse because when you go India, Bollywood by far has been and is the biggest film industry, right? But yet Hollywood kills the noise, right? But Bollywood, because it stayed within the community. They didn't care. You never saw, if this was music, you never saw Tom Cruise in a Bollywood movie. They had the budgets to. They said, nah, we keep it our own. The only thing we're going to do multiple scenes in multiple countries of the West where the guys run in and the next minute he opens his arms in New Zealand. When he closes it, he's in South Africa. But apart from that, they never chose to be like, let's have Nicolas Cage in this movie. They got the budgets. Yeah. They kept it themselves. And yet, when I say we were monsters in the film business. You know what I mean? So I want us to still hold that strength. Netflix is coming in. Eros is gone, like almost. And I don't hear about Eros Film Studios. I don't hear about Tips and all these other incredible. Now I'm hearing about Netflix. So we have to still balance it out, be unapologetically us. To your point, bro, and I love that. Let's own our equity. Let's own our USP and move.
Yeah, I love that, Shabz. I end every pod with one question. It's essentially my version of the goal setting. The goal idea is you say it up here, and then when you go out and do this thing, right, I can send it to you and be like, yo, look what we talked about and look what you did. So we call it call your shot. So Shabz, call your shot. Anything, next 3 to 5 years, a goal, something you're going to make happen personally, business.
We're going to, Brown is everywhere. Remember that company, ethos and name. Desi Trill, Brown is everywhere, man. Like, this is bigger than just a label. It's a genre. It's a mindset. It's about bringing us to the forefront to the globe, and also us giving us strength back home. Like, we're a baby in this. Like, you're talking to me right now when Desi Trill's only 1 year old, right? I want us to hold our strength and remember this conversation and come back to this in a few years and go, yo, I remember speaking to Shabz when we was 1 year in. We was only talking about Diljit and AP Dylan. We wasn't mentioning her, him, her. All these other incredible artists are about to come that are yet to be discovered. Same thing with Desi Trill as well. Like, we've got incredible roster of artists that are representing different demographics within our race, right? It's such a loose term of we was talking about this of demographics, because we as people, some of us like blue, some of us like pink, some of us are vegetarian, some of us are meat eaters, some of us like Walt Disney, some of us. Where my mission is to make sure we're catering for our own while we're evolving, right? Let's not be forced to turn to Taylor Swift because we don't have a Taylor Swift. Let's not be forced to turn to anyone else of any genre or of music or artist because we don't have our own. Let's create our own. That's the whole point of Desi Trill. You know what I mean? So this conversation here, we're going to look back and go, yo, I remember when this brother was just talking about it, and it was just, it's not an idea we're doing it, but they were just babies.
Yo, I'm excited. That's like what, as somebody like who does what I do, right? Like that's just what excites me, right? Like seeing everybody and getting to meet the people behind it, right? And seeing them like, oh, like, nah, they're going to do it, right? Like, I always, like, after
we are
meeting,
going to do it, bro.
We are going to do it.
I'm telling you, man, there is no I in this, bro. It's going to take all of us. And I say this humbly. I say this like with much respect and love, because this is passion, bro. We're all going to have to do this together. And shout out to, I'm in New York right now. Shout out to the Indoor Warehouse team, like going out to their electronic dance night today. I love what they're doing. Like, again, DJ Sharad or Sharad, like, shout out all of those brothers, like, what you're doing. There's so much incredible talent with us globally.
It just comforts me, though, to meet the people and understand that, oh, there's a bunch of killers here doing their work in this, right? Because sometimes I look at the task is so huge, right? And I'm like, because I don't even know if I'm cut out for what I need to do. But then getting to meet everybody, I'm like, oh, like they're just, everybody's doing their part in it, right?
Exactly.
And getting to meet the people where it's like, oh, like they're doing it and they're doing it the right way. They're like the right people. Like, I haven't met somebody who I've been like, yo, like they're doing the thing and they like, I want to support them. It's like, yo, meeting them, it's like you understand why they're the person leading this charge or the person putting their work in, right?
Exactly.
It's like, oh, like they built just like that, right?
It's strength, bro. Like, everyone's building their own with strength, but yet behind the scenes, we're all unified. And that's what I love. Like, I was speaking to Kunal this morning, right? From Indoor Warehouse. It's like, him and his partner are respectfully building something that's dope and monstrous without anyone's help, like, but their own. You see what I'm trying to say? There's no sponsorships. There's nothing. There's just the Indian or the South Asian community turning up, and they're doing 7,000 venues, and like this is what it's about. And let everyone else come to that. You know what I mean? So
absolutely,
it's those teachings there. It's those strengths. We're all leaning off it. I'm leaning off it. He's leaning off what we're doing. I'm leaning off what you're doing, and it's vice versa. You know what I mean? So it's all about unity and strength, fam.
Nah, thank you, and thank you for the strength. Yo, appreciate y'all listening. Peace. Josh, brother.
I proper appreciate it, man.
Thank you, brother.